Sometimes, life unfolds into a tragedy. The person you trust the most can sometimes be the one to inflict the deepest wounds. My marriage of 26 years, built on joyful memories and shared dreams, shattered in a single, heartbreaking night. In an instant, the loving woman I thought I knew revealed a side of her I never imagined existed. That night, I saw a stranger in her eyes. The shadow of betrayal tore through my heart, trampling every beautiful memory of our shared past. How did it come to this? What happened that night to unravel everything we had built together? The truth turned out to be a nightmare beyond anything I could endure. But before I delve into my story, if you want to avoid the pitfalls and heartaches that can overturn your life, subscribe to my channel. Here, we share real-life lessons based on stories like mine. Raw, honest, and unfiltered. Share your thoughts about the truths I've uncovered in the comments, and please support my work by liking this video. Now that you've subscribed, let's dive into my story. Lucy was the light of my life. I met her during our university years. She was everything I could ever dream of, vibrant, intelligent, and breathtakingly beautiful. Her energy lit up every room she entered, and she effortlessly captured the attention of everyone around her. For 26 years, Lucy was not just my wife. She was my best friend and confidant. We built a life together that I thought was unshakable. We raised two incredible children, faced life's challenges hand in hand, and supported each other through thick and thin. For me, the life we shared was perfect. Every memory, every milestone, and every quiet moment together was a testament to the strength of our bond. But all of that changed one fateful evening. It was the night of our university reunion, a gathering that was supposed to be a celebration of the good old days. Lucy seemed just as excited as I was. After all, we had become the couple that everyone admired, a shining example of love enduring through decades. But that night, we ran into Rick. Rick was someone from Lucy's past, a man who had once been infatuated with her. He had pursued her persistently during our university years, even going so far as to send a cryptic message on our wedding day. I always brushed off his obsession as harmless and trusted Lucy implicitly. But as soon as Rick appeared at the reunion, I felt an unsettling unease. She had made a mistake, though we laughed it off at the time. But seeing Lucy talk to Rick again that night unsettled me. Rick's gaze was obsessively fixed on her, but I trusted her. I trusted her character and the love we had built. As usual, Lucy seemed to keep her distance, but as the night wore on, I noticed their connection becoming more familiar. While they danced together and socialized with friends, I couldn't stop glancing at her. A strange seed of doubt began to sprout in my mind, seeds I never imagined would take root. As the evening went on, Lucy's behavior grew increasingly odd. At one point, I couldn't find her or our close friend Nancy. I tried calling, assuming the loud music had drowned out their phones. When Lucy returned 30 minutes later, she had a strange expression on her face and urged me to leave. She claimed she was tired and wanted to rest, but doubt had already begun to gnaw at me. Something wasn't right. Lucy was hiding something that night, and it was slowly destroying me. When Lucy came to bed later that night, crying silently and clutching me without saying a word, my unease solidified. Her trembling voice finally broke the silence with words that shattered my world. "I cheated on you." The words fell from Lucy's mouth like a dagger into my heart. I was with Rick. I didn't want to believe it. I wanted to deny what I had heard. But her tears and trembling voice left no room for doubt. She confessed plainly. She had betrayed me. She had done so after 26 years of marriage, trampling on the life we had built and the children we had raised together. After her confession, a suffocating silence enveloped the room. I felt frozen, like a statue, replaying the events of the evening in my mind. I had seen her dancing with Rick, but I never imagined that dance would lead to such a devastating betrayal. The silence was broken by Lucy's tearful, regretful eyes and her trembling voice. I was drunk, and he said such nice things to me. I lost control. At that moment, a storm of anger and pain surged within me. According to Lucy, Rick had showered her with compliments and expressed his long-standing admiration for her. In a moment of weakness, she had succumbed, but something in her story didn't quite add up. The truth I later learned from Nancy turned Lucy's version of events upside down. Nancy revealed that Lucy and Rick weren't just walking around the campus as Lucy had claimed. They had been caught together in the pool's changing rooms. Lucy's excuse of being drunk was a blatant lie. According to Nancy, Lucy had made a fully conscious decision to be with Rick. Confronting this truth made her betrayal all the more unbearable. Lucy's tearful pleas of, "I don't want to lose you," and her asking for my forgiveness meant nothing to me that night. Lying beside her, I realized I could never trust her again, nor could I look her in the eyes. I turned my back to her in bed, unable to close my eyes. All I could think about was how the woman I had loved and admired for so many years could be a part of such a betrayal. The next morning, as I left the house, a heavy weight pressed on my heart. I had to leave. Staying in that house, living under the shadow of her betrayal, would destroy me. Before Lucy woke up, I packed my belongings and left without a trace. Facing her, staying, and talking it through all felt meaningless. I had to protect myself and distance myself from her betrayal. I started staying at a hotel and severed all communication with Lucy. Yet no matter how far I ran, her betrayal echoed inside me. The ease with which she sacrificed me and our family was a harsh reality I couldn't escape, that I couldn't accept it. Even though I had escaped Lucy's betrayal, its shadow followed me. The nights alone in the hotel room were filled with endless questions spinning in my mind. Where had I gone wrong? What was lacking in me? How did we come to this? But eventually, I realized that none of these questions truly mattered. Lucy's choice reflected not our relationship, but her character. Telling our children was perhaps the hardest part of all. They had believed our family was perfect. Admitting to them that Lucy had cheated on me meant shattering the image they had of their mother. On the phone with my son, the words struggled to leave my mouth. "Your mom was with Rick. That's why I'm leaving." The silence on the other end of the line deepened the wound in my heart. My son's disbelieving voice, "How could this happen, Dad?" crushed me even further. My daughter reacted differently. At first, I told her I was on a business trip, but when she learned the truth a few days later, she was furious with me. She thought I had abandoned her. The reality, however, was far more complex. Lucy's betrayal had shattered not just me, but our children as well. Their confrontations with Lucy were another tragedy. My daughter screamed at her, "How could you do this? How could you ruin us?" Lucy's tears couldn't undo the damage. Lucy's attempts to reach me only solidified my resolve. She called repeatedly, sent messages, and even showed up at my workplace, but nothing changed for me. That night, the power she once held over me was erased. Over the next year, Lucy's downfall became both heartbreaking and shocking. She discovered that Rick had cheated on her as well. Learning that Rick had seen her as nothing more than a temporary amusement humiliated her even further. In their last conversation, Rick mockingly told her it was so easy to fool you. That realization made Lucy understand how devastatingly wrong her choices had been. For me, life had to go on. That marriage ended with her betrayal. After divorcing Lucy, I decided to rebuild my life. I abandoned my long-held retirement plans and became a world traveler, exploring new cultures, meeting new people, and shedding the burdens of the past became my focus. Lucy's attempts to maintain control over our children continued. My daughter tried living with her for a year, but eventually gave up due to Lucy's possessive and manipulative behavior. My son chose to keep his distance entirely. The betrayal had not only destroyed my life, but also shattered our children's faith in the concept of family. Looking back now, I realize I can't separate Lucy from the woman I once loved. But that woman has been replaced by the darkness of betrayal. Today, I seek peace in my life. While my past has shaped me, I refuse to let it dictate my future.